Does the Bible predict the end of the world?
The Bible in Revelation predicts the second coming of Jesus Christ, which would usher in a new age, specifically thought of as a new heaven and a new earth. And so it has this prophetic language that discusses the end times, what's going to happen. It's not just in the book of Revelation, it's also in the book of Daniel, Ezekiel, for example. And Christian scholars, once again, interpret these passages, and they kind of put it in three buckets. The first is a future view. And this is probably what you are thinking about when you say I don't spend a lot of time. A lot of times people think this is something that's going to happen in the future, and that these passages discuss the end of the world and the second coming of Christ, as I said. And there's the preterist view, which is others interpret it as symbolic. It's symbolic of events that have already occurred in history. So, for example, in Revelation, there's language around what was going on with the Romans in the first century AD. So it's already what had happened with having the Roman overlords over the Christians in the early church. And then there's this third bucket of the idealist view. Some people see these prophetic passages about as timeless truths, and it's this timeless truth of this spiritual struggle we have between good and evil. So in Revelation, you might see it as, it's forever until Jesus comes back, struggle between good and evil. I would say that the importance of this discussion is not which is the view that's going to actually happen. Has it already happened? Is it an idealism, or is it something that's going to happen? Really, the message around the Bible is be prepared for the coming of Christ again, which I'm 1,000% sure is going to happen. It will happen. When will it happen? Nobody knows. And that's probably the way it should stay. So God has in mind the fulfillment of history, the ultimate fulfillment of this journey from his creation through the fall, and then the restoration, and then bringing his people to him in a place where we can live together with him for all of eternity. This is the grand narrative, as we've talked about so often. So certain things will have to happen for that to happen. Do I know when? No. Does anybody know when? No. Do people like to talk about it? Endlessly.
A lot of oxygen in the room is taken up by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I might talk out of both sides of my mouth here. I go back to what you said previously of I appreciate Bible scholars, people that have made this their life work and dove into it. I appreciate that, and I respect that, and that's awesome. I'm glad those folks are there. And I also feel like this conversation gets too much airtime.
I don't think from scholars necessarily, no.
For sure. Culturally, and among certain pieces of our faith, gosh, they love this stuff. And I don't understand why. I mean, I guess I have theories, but it just seems like it's. I'm not saying forget it. I'm not saying ignore it, but it can take up a lot of word count. And I'm like, I don't think it's pulling us together. I don't think it's to your point of why is this all here to draw us closer to God? I don't think it's being used in that regard.
I suppose if it's used as a simple message that Jesus Christ will return. I mean, I had a family member say to me recently, hey, I saw some graffiti on a bridge and it said, Jesus Christ is coming again. And she said, what do you think that means? That is a conversation. Mm-hmm. And so for that person, it was a great entree to talk about that Jesus Christ will come again, and that our journey here on earth is to find him and to become a part of the kingdom of God. And yeah, so in that way, it creates this expectation of a future event of which we're captured by it in our imagination. We're terrified of it. We're interested in it. We want it to happen. We don't want it to happen. It scares us. It excites us. It does create a mixture of emotions around it. And so people give it a lot of airtime. They like to conjecture. Mm-hmm. That's what people do.